Welcome, I'm State Senator McManus. You're viewing In Touch with Northern Michigan, and today's guest is Linda Jones. She's the Program Manager for the Michigan Grape and Wine Industry Council, and she's here to talk a little bit about our Michigan wines. Welcome.
Thanks,
how are you?
Senator McManus. Very good today.
Yeah, it's great to have you back.
Thank you.
You were on a previous show many years ago. Yeah. Actually, a show probably before we had the legislation that allowed for direct shipment of wine within this state to consumers as well as outside of the state. So we have a lot of new things to talk about.
Right.
We've seen, at least in my district, just a surgence of new wineries, a lot of vineyards, a lot of activity with regards to grape and wine industry. And I thought maybe, we'd start off and talk a little bit about why April is so important.
Well, April is a great month to celebrate Michigan wines. It's a fairly quiet time in the wine districts. The grapes haven't started to bud out yet and require some care and attention, so the winemakers have a little extra time to devote to promotion of the industry. So they like to get away and do some in-store appearances with retailers and winemaker dinners at restaurants. We focus most of those downstate in the Grand Rapids, Lansing, and Detroit markets, but we expect also we'll have a lot of good programming in the Traverse City area and down in St. Joe. So we really we start off with the governor's proclamation to proclaim April as Michigan Wine Month, highlighting all the great things that is happening in the industry, and then we try to feature that with all of our trade partners, with restaurants and retailers around the state, to get them pumped up and excited about promoting Michigan wine, not only in April but all through the year. So
but
it's a great time to focus.
Yeah, so April is really the month dedicated to try to highlight and focus on this really new industry, really.
Yes, it's really come a long way. In 1995, we had 17 wineries, and they're now over 50.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So it's been a huge growth, and especially in your district, we've really seen a surge in the growth of wineries and vineyards.
Now, how long have you been on the Michigan Grape and Wine Industry?
I have been 10 years with the Grape and Wine Industry Council, which is a program of the Michigan Department of Agriculture. The Grape and Wine Industry Council was formed in the mid-1980s to help drive the growth, spur the growth of the Michigan wine industry. And it's been really successful in helping the wineries to grow. It's a great public-private partnership. The principal activities of the council are to fund research to help the growers learn how to grow wine grapes in this rather unique climate we have here in Michigan. We also have a role to promote Michigan wines, which is what we'll be doing in April Wine Month. And we also have some activities that are designed to help the industry learn and help themselves through professional development and quality improvement, which is our annual Michigan Wine Competition, which happens in August. And we have an annual meeting once a year in the winter months where we bring in speakers from around the country to talk about sales and marketing techniques. So we really provide a very comprehensive, broad program to provide some support behind the scenes for this growing industry.
So it's a relatively young industry.
Definitely.
And we've seen tremendous growth from it in the last decade. Any particular reason why we've seen you think the council obviously has been helpful?
The council's a factor, but I think what's happened nationally is that there's been this growth in regional wines everywhere. There are now wineries in all 50 states. And there's a new book out called Wine Across America, and Michigan is featured in that book as one of the 50 states that has wineries. But in the 70s, in the 1960s and 1970s, the California industry really started up and was born and became the focus for the wine industry in North America. So all the research was devoted to that particular climate, and it's taken some time for the wine industry elsewhere to manage to mount the resources and support systems to really get the industry up and running. Although the wine industry in America really started in the Atlantic states. Thomas Jefferson had vineyards. In Virginia claims to be the birthplace of the American wine industry. And there's been wineries in New York and throughout many of the eastern states long before the 20th century. And then with Prohibition, of course, many of those were closed. And then when Prohibition was repealed in 1939, then we saw a resurgence of interest in the wine industry in the United States, first in California and now spreading throughout the country.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about this council. Who Who's on the council? How do they get to be on the council?
Yes.
And what are their responsibilities?
Well, the council has some weighty responsibilities. They're basically an advisory board to the Michigan Department of Agriculture. The council's chaired by our director, Donald Koivisto, and there are 10 members of the council. 6 are appointed by the governor from the private sector. There are 3 winery representatives, and they come from anywhere in the state. There is 1 wine grape grower, and some of these appointments are in flux at the moment with terms expiring. So there's 3 winery representatives, 1 wine grape grower. There's a wine retailer or restaurateur. There is a wine wholesaler that serves on the council. Those 6 positions are governor appointments. Then we have 3 positions that are state agency representatives, one of them being the Michigan Department of Agriculture with Director Koivisto. And then we have Travel Michigan represented on the council, and we have the Liquor Control Commission, a very important partner in our program. And the 10th member of our council is a representative from the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources from Michigan State University. That's a very important partner also for us in terms of providing research and extension support that the industry needs.
So what are some of their responsibilities?
The council's responsibilities, we meet 4 times a year, and we have they help us to determine how best to dedicate our limited resources towards our various functions: research, promotion, industry support. We call that 3rd category. And so they help advise us and give us a bit of a litmus test. If we have a new idea for an initiative, we'll bring that to the council and suggest topics that we might want to pursue and see whether they feel that those would be effective. So it's a really good way to vet some of those initiatives before we roll them out to the whole industry. So they meet, and then we have some subcommittees of the council. One is a promotion and consumer education committee that helps us with events like April Wine Month to develop good ideas for that program. And our magazine, Michigan Wine Country Magazine, which we publish every year, and the new edition will be out any day now in April of 2008, will be the 2008 edition. So those are important promotional activities. We have a website, which is www.michiganwines.com, and we devote a lot of attention to that. Those are our main promotional activities. Then we have a research and education committee. So we have a promotion committee and a research committee. And the research committee helps us allocate some of our dollars to research grants to help the industry learn how to grow their very best quality of wine grapes. It's very important that growers learn how to estimate their crop. If you have too heavy a crop in your vineyards, the quality of the grapes isn't high enough with enough flavor to produce really good quality wine. Of course, if you have too low a crop, your financial return is not as good. So there's always that trade-off between those 2 forces. So being able to accurately estimate the crop in the fields during the growing season is a really important thing. And every region has different variables. So we've developed tools with Michigan State University to help our wine grape growers learn how to estimate the size of their crop through the growing season to help them make good decisions about thinning and other aspects of production, which are very much important in the final quality of the wine.
Okay. And most of these individuals, they serve on the council for 2 years, 4 years?
The governor appointed positions, 6 of the 10, are 2-year terms, renewable once. So a person can serve for up to 4 years, and we are always looking for people from the industry that are willing to serve on the council, because it is very important that we have good input from the industry. And then the agencies are appointed by the directors of their agency and turn over from time to time.
Okay. Now you mentioned something earlier about the climate of Michigan, our weather. What makes us so different from the Californians, other than obviously we have 4 seasons, but what is unique about our climate, and where can these grapes really be grown?